Hello, everyone. Welcome to Wealthy Life, a channel for your personal growth, awakening, and financial wisdom. Have you ever felt this way, surrounded by people yet completely alone? In a world full of noise, do you sometimes feel lonelier in crowds and in silence? When your social media is filled with likes, but your heart feels empty, what's really going on? Why do we fear solitude so much? And could it be that learning to enjoy being alone is actually the highest form of living? Why do we fear being alone? From a young age, we're taught that belonging to a group is good, and being alone is sad. Eating alone, traveling alone, living alone, people often see these things as signs of failure or loneliness. But the real reason we fear solitude is deeper. We're afraid to face ourselves. Carl Jung once said, "The greatest fear is to face one's own soul." And that's exactly what solitude forces us to do. It strips away distractions and makes us sit face to face with our own thoughts. In the silence, your inner voice asks uncomfortable questions. Who am I? Why am I here? What do I really want? Questions most people spend a lifetime avoiding. That's why solitude feels threatening. It doesn't let us run. Solitude is actually a choice. Steve Jobs once said, "Innovation comes from the calm of the mind." He was known to take long, solitary walks, meditate, and spend time away from people. These moments of aloneness sparked some of his greatest ideas, like the iPhone. Or take philosopher Immanuel Kant. He never married and lived a life of strict solitude and daily routine. Yet he said, "I am not alone. I am in conversation with the world." His solitary life produced ideas that shaped all of modern philosophy. The pattern is clear. Remarkable people don't run from solitude, they use it to create greatness. Let me tell you a short story about when solitude becomes strength. A young writer once fell into deep depression and quit his job. For a whole year, he isolated himself from the outside world. Friends thought he had collapsed. But a year later, he reemerged with a book called 1 Year in the Mountains, A Journey Back to Myself. He wrote, "I began to hear birds, smell the wind, and understand the stillness of trees. That's when I realized I wasn't lonely. I had just stopped truly living." His solitude became a turning point, not a breakdown, but a breakthrough. Why enjoying solitude is the highest form of living? Because real freedom begins with the ability to be alone. When you enjoy your own company, you stop needing validation. You're no longer anxious about being left out. You don't define happiness by how many people invite you out or how many notifications light up your phone. Those who enjoy solitude understand themselves better and life better. They can read, write, think, or sip tea alone without feeling empty. They can spend quiet days creating value without feeling lost. They stop seeking emotional dependence and start living with internal stability. So, how can we start enjoying solitude? 1. Create sacred alone time rituals. Set aside 20 minutes a day just for yourself. No phones, no conversations. Meditate, journal. Do anything that helps you reconnect with yourself. 2. Use solitude to grow. Learn a skill. Read a deep book. Start painting, writing, or exercising. Time alone is not time wasted, it's time invested. 3. Step away from social expectations. You don't need to match society's version of a perfect life. Stop measuring yourself by how others see you. Start asking, how do you see yourself? 4. Shift from loneliness to self-companionship. Solitude isn't about lack. It's about learning to rely on yourself, to comfort yourself, and to build an inner world that feels whole. The more you know yourself, the more you're at peace with the world. Poet Rainer Maria Rilke once said, "Only when we are alone can we know deeper love." When you no longer fear solitude, you'll realize it's not punishment, it's power. You'll find that the quiet night, the peaceful afternoon, the empty space, they hold more richness than the noisiest parties. Being surrounded by people doesn't mean you're alive. Being connected to yourself does. True depth doesn't come from constant company. It comes from moments of stillness. The highest form of living is not escaping solitude, but embracing it with elegance. Don't forget to subscribe our channel, like and share the video. May you soon discover your true direction in life.